Folks, welcome back. Happy Saturday. I hope you're having fun at the Home Depot or at brunch with your Aunt Sally, because we're here live and it's not wrestling with your budget. It's not wrestling with your conscience. It's wrestling with emotion. And what a week in the wrestling industry. So let's get our star-studded panel in to discuss it all. As always, obviously, we got Ty B.
What up?
We got McAdoo. We got Slick Al. And we got Mr. 6-0 from the Royal Rumble podcast himself, Mike Partham. Mike, how are you doing today, sir?
Feeling pretty good. Feeling like I know what I'm talking about most of the time.
And that is a dangerous feeling, especially in the wrestling industry. Guys, typically, and fans of the show, if you know, typically we start off the show right away. What's your favorite thing going on in wrestling right now? We'll get to that in a second, because we have no choice but to talk about the Rhodes revelation, Cody Rhodes leaving AEW, and what is next for the Rhodes family, him and Brandy. Jeez. With that said, I'll let anybody jump in. Any thoughts? Are we going to see Cody at Elimination Chamber later today?
I don't think he's going to be in Saudi. If he does debut, I think you're going to get something leading up to him doing something at WrestleMania, or like they're alluding to him being at WrestleMania because their ticket sales seem to be down, them doing 2-for-1 tickets. So I think they're trying to build some buzz around it. So even if he doesn't sign, I think they're going to continue to play into it, because it seems like there's been a lot of leaks from like WWE sources like, oh, we've been in contact with him. We've been talking to him. So when you look at that past face value, why would you be leaking that out as much as you are? Because you're trying to generate some buzz for him potentially at WrestleMania. Does he debut? Does he sign? That's a whole nother can of worms. I still don't believe in it fully. I think he might just take some time away with his family. They do have a newborn baby at home, so he might really, take some time, look at things, see the way things play out over the next couple months, and then sort of reevaluate things with Tony and maybe with Vince, and then go from there.
Anyone else chiming in? Slick, I know you have a couple thoughts on this. You're Slick, you muted.
Oh.
Typical Slick.
I don't think still muted.
I don't think we.
But
I don't think we see him in Saudi, but was that whole spotted at a Poland airport thing true? I don't know, but this is the biggest thing WWE's had going for it with a free agent in a very long time, and it's funny too because it's a former guy. But I don't think we see him in Saudi. I think we see him on a Raw sooner or later, leading up to the road to WrestleMania. And I don't think we see him at the Chamber, though. As much as I would love that and see what entrance song he does, I don't think he'd get shit for
I think you need the American crowd for the pop, right?
I don't think he'd get shit.
The Saudis, I don't know if they're really.
Well, the way WWE's piping in music, what's the difference?
He'll still get the pop, I guess.
Saudi Arabia, those people would not even know who he was if he showed up at the Elimination Chamber.
They'd be like, "What? That's not Stardust."
I was gonna say, where's Stardust?
Yeah, they're like, the American who?
Seriously.
Oh,
all right. Partham and McAdoo, shed some light on this for us.
Yeah, this is like the last thing you saw coming, but in retrospect, it almost sort of makes sense. And it also doesn't make sense for multiple reasons. But Cody was not well liked by the crowd, and depending on what reports you believe, he might not have been well liked backstage, especially Brandy. Brandy has her friends that are going to stick up for her, but with what she was doing on television and how well it was received, her value had dropped a little bit, I think, and Cody's maybe as well. And I think what we saw play on television might not have been that far away from what real life was, where everybody was clamoring for Cody to turn heel, and Cody didn't want to turn heel because he appreciated the fans too much, and he didn't want to betray his character or anything like that. And it may have gotten to a point where TK and Cody were just at odds with where to go with this character, and Cody felt sort of hemmed in by not having creative control anymore. I heard, Kenny Omega say on an interview recently that, him and the Bucks were in it for just have an alternative, and Cody was in it to, fight the man, fight the good fight Vince, lead the revolution. And for him to go to the other side, not confirmed yet, just rumored, it's a possibility that he might go there at any time, whether it be Chamber before WrestleMania. But just the idea that he would go there after all the pot shots, after the throne smashing and everything like that, is just very bizarre world. And it does lead into the conspiracy theories, especially after he was dropping hints of, we're going to take the fans on a journey. It's going to be something different, something not seen before. But I mean, for him to make a statement on Twitter, and for Brandy, and then of course Tony through AEW to make like full on, this is goodbye statements. I mean, if this were an angle, would they go that all out, and would they keep everybody else out of the loop?
Amanda Huber even came out and was like, it's not a work, like this is real life. Yeah. So like that's a big part of it, is the community outreach stuff, and him not, being a part of that anymore, obviously, because he's leaving. She's going to be in charge of it. Like that's a real thing. Like he's gone, at least for now. Like, could he come back? Yes, but they're not working people with that plan.
At the end of the day, I think because of what's been happening with Brandy and Cody on TV and how well they were received, there's a nice little throwback. Yeah,
I was saying
Cody leaving the Revolution,
quality,
invading
look
Raw.
at what a difference 5 years makes here, folks.
Exactly. What a difference 5 years makes. And now he was like sort of not even John Cena, because I think he was not even getting really mixed reactions. It was all just people just tired of him having his little Cody verse and being separate from everything else in AEW. So I think it's cruel to say this because Cody was a big part of starting AEW in the first place, but it may end up being addition by subtraction. No more Cody verse and no more Brandy versus Dan Lambert segments. It's all just all the people we want to see and all just pure wrestling now.
I love Dan Lambert.
Yeah, and one more thing, like you've mentioned the throne thing, where I think what was it? I forget the pay-per-view.
Double or Nothing.
Yeah, Double or
very
Nothing.
First
Thank
official AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, how do you think Triple H feels about that? Triple H is still, I think he's still on hiatus from his heart operation that he had. So if Cody Rhodes comes back and they are giving, and it's rumored that he was getting creative with WWE, how do you think Triple H is going to feel about that? I think that if Rhodes signs with WWE, gets creative, I think Triple H is shoved out. But another thing, my tweets last night had nothing to do with Cody Rhodes. I just want to point that out for the fans out there, because someone up there, why you gotta do that now? Why you gotta put me on full screen? Someone up there that thought that my tweets were about Cody Rhodes. They were about Ben Rhodes in the truck race last night.
And just to go back to the Triple H point, I mean, that would have been the easy match to do. That would have been the no-brainer match to have him and Triple H at WrestleMania. But now Triple H is basically not only not capable of wrestling with this heart condition that he's still recovering from, if he ever recovers from that, to wrestle again, but he is on the creative outs. I mean, for all we know, the Bruce and Johnny, I forget his name now.
Johnny Ace, baby.
Johnny Ace.
For all we know, they wanted Cody to come in just to slap Triple H in the face one more time.
Mm-hmm. That's a whole nother thing. Like, there's so many aspects to this story that make it so crazy, because, like, obviously, Cody's father had such a big part to play growing NXT in the beginning, and like having Dusty's kids and all that. And does Cody come back to live up to that legacy, or does he try to build his own, or like does he do anything with NXT? Does he go right to the main roster? I think he has to. Does he go right in the main event picture? I think he has to. He has to probably get that title at some point for it to be worthwhile, but that bag is going to have to be fat, and it's going to be very interesting. I'm just very glad I was able to see what is Cody's right now last match in AEW, an absolute banger of a match against Sammy Guevara. And it was kind of telling what he said in that interview, like in the backstage, and talking about he doesn't know, what his future was. And even the promo right before that, where he talked about, I don't know, if I'm ever going to get to say this, so I'm going to do it now. And he's like, I did all the things CM Punk did. And supposedly he wants that CM Punk money. So I don't know. We'll see. AEW, I think next year renews their television deal. So they should have a lot more money to be able to spend on contracts and renewing these guys and keeping the top talent paid and happy where they are.
I think it's 2024 where their contracts renew.
Okay. Yeah. So then in next year. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I would say, devil's advocate to that point, I think they're anticipating that they're going to have that money. So they're probably telling performers, hey, and what you carry us for the next 18 months or whatnot, we'll get the incentives built into those contracts. I'm sure that can be negotiated. It's very interesting because Cody left. He was always a solid performer, great coming up with legacy, pretty good solo performer with WWE. Stardust was obviously off the beaten path for him. He said in interviews that he wanted to do the character, and then there was some rumors that he was kind of down about it behind the scenes. End of the day, he left WWE to prove that he was a better performer than they thought he was capable of, pretty much. And he definitely did that, kind of similar to Drew McIntyre in that regard. So with that said, we're talking all pro wrestling here on the Wrestling with Emotion show. Again, it's not just WWE, it's WWE, AEW. We got Ty B's GCW. It's all rocking and it's all rolling. We're starting with Ty B, and let's go around the horn to part them. What's your favorite storyline across pro wrestling right now, February 19th, 2022?
I think right now what you got brewing between Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, because the potential of them, I mean, the match is going to be incredible between the two of them. I think we're going to get that at Revolution, and that match is going to be insane. But the potential of them teaming up and getting Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty, Wheeler Yuta like under their wings, and those guys just becoming absolute, violent madmen on top of their technical wrestling skills that they already have. Like, we see that potential out of Red Death, Daniel Garcia, all the time. Like, he just won the PWG Cup the other day, or the Battle of Los Angeles. Like, they obviously think extremely highly of him. Like, he beat Jonathan Gresham. Like, they're pushing these guys, and I think Tony sees the future for it. So I'm very excited to see what happens with that. I think even if they potentially don't team up, you could see two, rivaling factions between the two of them, and like them having like a long-term storyline between like their two teams that they build up, something like that. So there's a lot of ways to go with that, and I'm excited to see the match and excited to see where it goes from there.
Yeah, Ty B stole my answer, to be honest. Really want to see Daniel Garcia in a faction like that. I think that would be awesome. But since Ty stole my answer, I'm going to have to go with Hangman, Adam Cole. The potential for that match is just off the charts. And give it like Hangman's been doing all these crazy ass matches defending his title. Texas Death Match as of recent, shedding blood all over the ring, city to city across the U.S. Give me like a ladder match between Hangman and Adam Cole. Either way, I'm going to be a happy fan watching that. I think Adam Cole sucks. He can eat shit, but he's a great performer and he's funny. I'll give him that. So I think that the match potential there is awesome, and I'm really looking forward to that one. Baby.
McAdoo.
Okay. This one's gonna be stupid to you guys, but there's a method to my madness. I like the Naomi Sonya Deville storyline only because I think this is a way to get Sonya Deville back full time, and I think that she is a good performer. I think that she could help the women's division out a little bit more, and I think yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know where I was going with that.
I like the Deville Naomi storyline fine.
Yeah, Naomi had a great match the other night too, which was good. Like,
they
gave
still
her
have not given us a
spotlight.
reason why they're feuding in the first place, why Sonya hates her, other than, well, I don't think you're good enough to be on TV, or I think you disrespect authority, but she wasn't doing that beforehand. But I digress. MJF and Punk is still, to me, the hottest feud going, and I love the other night where Punk is like pulling from the past from one of Roddy Piper's classic matches and poking MJF. You want to be Roddy Piper so bad? Well, let's go through, this brutal match that Piper went in before, and then you can be Piper. And he pulls out the picture that's been circulating on social media ever since the feud started of, MJF as a kid going to see CM Punk back in his early WWE days. And to just pull from that kind of history just lends much more weight to that match. And I liked what MJF's reaction, where he's just dreading this match and just dreading all this history and this Piper history and his history with Punk coming back on him. But other than that, yeah, I like Danielson Moxley. I like the dynamic, and I'm curious where they're going to go with it after the match happens. Like, if the alliance happens, is Danielson going to be more of a babyface, or is Moxley going to be more of a heel? Because they're a babyface heel dynamic right now. And if they align, like, who's going to sort of lean which other way? And I do like Hangman Cole because of their history with the Bullet Club and the Elite, and there's a lot they can draw from there. And of course, Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, they have a lot of history to draw on, and it's going to be an epic title match too.
Yeah, real quick, before Maniac goes, does anyone know who Piper faced in that dog collar match?
Greg Valentine.
That's exactly why he asked
Will you be my
MJF
Valentine?
to be his Valentine. Yeah, because Piper beat Valentine.
Yeah, they've been doing
yeah.
some unbelievable mic work. It was great to see Punk shut MJF up the other night for sure. Yeah, thanks for taking all the AEW storylines, Partham, over there. With that said, just very interesting to me. 3 years ago, AEW was starting out. People really weren't sure exactly what was going behind the scenes. Tony Khan, what the hell is this going to be? Yada, yada, yada. WWE was seemingly smooth sailing. They had their young stars. They had the Shield. They had that all working for them. And, Triple H dominating with NXT. And now we're 3 years later. And it's kind of like the roles have reversed. AEW is the one that's feeling confident in their programming and their storytelling to where they can let stars leave and things like that. Nobody really knows what's happening behind the scenes at WWE. So very interesting how those landscapes have shifted. And obviously it's a bigger picture storyline, but I think it's obviously having a trickle-down effect. And, who knows? Based on what we might see in some of these matches later in the Elimination Chamber, things can be called even more into question. But with that said, boys, are we ready to get rocking and ready to get rolling with these predictions?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Picasso's freestyle. Let's do it. Hey. Eating couple wings with a couple kings. They're my favorite things. Hey, hey. That's all I got. I'm not a good freestyle rapper. Wait, hold on. Let me think for a second. Hey.
Wow, I got to cut that out at the end. Sheesh, what a bad screen rep. But with that said, we got a screen rep for Elimination Chamber 2022. Always takes place in the early spring, pretty much. A couple of years ago, very interesting title change happened when Bray Wyatt was able to pin John Cena and AJ Styles clean. But I only bring that up because it's a fond memory. Let's get the predictions started with this series. And one guy who's been going on a run, potentially a farewell tour if Ernie Green is proved correct from his prediction a couple of months back. Miz facing on Rey Mysterio. I'll kick it off with the predictions. I got Miz winning this one with some crazy tactics. He wants to get his win back from the Edge match, and he gets it here.
Yeah, I think you probably give it to the Miz because you've probably got some stuff with Ray anyways. And then you just build them up for some sort of WrestleMania moment, probably with Dominic to help push the new 2K sales. But yeah, if the Miz is going to be leaving, it makes sense to build him up here to make him look bigger for, his last WrestleMania match, his last big moment. If that's what they're going. So I'll go with it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they decide to give Rey Mysterio just a big sudden push out of nowhere just because of 2K coming out and all the specials surrounding him and him being the cover boy. So I'm gonna go with the Miz, but wouldn't surprise me to see a little 619 magic.
And gents, I apologize, and folks, I apologize. I jumped the gun a little bit on the show. We got to obviously talk about our picks percentages for this Picasso's pick segments. Wait, hold on. We had to get Partham's too. I took yours out. No more asterisk for Mike Partham. They both now have over 10 picks, multiple shows. Got Partham leading the way at 80% after a 6 for 6 in the Royal Rumble. So he was feeling confident coming into this show. And yeah, we got everybody doing pretty well. Everyone pretty much over the 2 out of 3 range, 2 out of 3 percentages, except for our guy Dwayne.
Yeah, no surprise there.
With that said, speaking of being overmatched, Slick, will Rey Mysterio be overmatched by the poise, the pizzazz, and the celebrity prowess of The Miz?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know this match was happening until you put it on the screen. But
me too. But
2-2.
Man, I don't know. I think the Miz wins because it seems like they're giving him a lot of spotlight since he came back. I wouldn't be surprised if they give the Saudi fans a Rey Mysterio win. He's obviously a global superstar in that regard, and the 2K push, like Tybee said. But I see the Miz getting like a cheap dirty win. Everyone hates him. Will hate him even more. Him and Maurice will like celebrate obnoxiously in the ring afterwards for everyone to see. I think Miz takes this one.
Parth, I'm gonna let you go first.
I can't see Rey Mysterio losing this match when he's going to be on the cover of WWE 2K in just a few weeks. I mean, the whole feud started because what? Because Miz was jealous he wasn't on the cover. And if they made it more interesting where, let's say Miz said, put a stipulation in where if Miz wins, he gets to be on an alternate cover of 2K. Like, it's too late for the printings are already out, so Miz can't say, I want to be on the cover of 2K and put that up on the line. But like we've said, Ray is a global superstar. Everybody in Saudi probably loves him. He's probably one of the few recognized stars around the world. And there's going to be a few. Actually, I don't know how many. We'll go through our picks, but I don't know how many pure baby faces are going to be going over in this show. But you got to send the crowd home happy with some. Not that this is going to be the last match, but you got to give the crowd some kind of happiness. And if the Miz is going to be leaving in a while, which I actually hadn't heard about before, you got to put Rey Mysterio over. And I don't see necessarily this being the start of the Dominic feud, where Dominic may try to help out or interfere, and it just blows up in their face, because they could have pulled that trigger at the Royal Rumble, and I think they'll do that more so on the build up to WrestleMania. I've got Rey Mysterio winning this one because he's on the cover. You got to put him at the forefront.
And who can forget when Miz was on the cover in 2K15, of course.
That's a terrible cover.
I was thinking it was a fake fan-made one by probably the Miz fan.
I was going to say, I did not know that happened.
God,
No,
that cover makes sense for that game, though, for how bad that was.
It looks like a Kanye meme.
But anyways, for the last two pay-per-views, I've taken the Miz. I'm not making that choice the third time. Rey Mysterio is going to win this match. And I feel better with my pick because Partham picked him too. So,
okay, Partham took him too, and chiming in for the first time, Jake Micah, unfortunately not able to join us, but submitted his picks. He has Rey Mysterio as well. So we are split 3-3, Miz and Mysterios, and I like when that happens because it makes the matches all the more interesting to me when we are watching. And speaking of interesting matches, what would I do?
We have to watch
Following,
it.
paying attention.
Oh yeah. Tracking, yes, following along. Okay,
Tracking results.
Speaking of following along and tracking results, Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss. I mean,
oh my fuck.
I'll just go again real quick. I couldn't be less interested in this storyline. I'm sorry. It's one of those that I didn't even know it was happening. Everyone's like dying in the chat right now. I'll just go with McIntyre with a lot of ease.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really. I mean, does anyone really think Madcap Moss is gonna win? I mean, at least he like hurt Drew, so like you had somewhat of like a built-in storyline, and like Drew also broke Moss's nose, right? I don't even know. So like you had some built-in stuff to like make this feud work, but like I don't know if there's anything entertaining enough about this. I don't know why WWE thought this was the play for them. I guess maybe Drew is just well known in Saudi and they demanded a Drew match, so they were like, all right, we got to do something for him, because we see better matches than this on AEW television week after week after week. Yeah, I've seen better matches on Dark. I don't know if anyone saw Sonny Kiss versus Joey Janela. That match was incredible. And there was a street fight too. Just I don't know what the hell the WWE is doing. If Drew loses, I'm done. It's got to be Drew. No, I'm picking Madcap Moss. Put it down.
Are you serious?
I think WWE is gonna screw us up, and they're gonna set up Sheamus versus Drew. Sheamus is gonna interfere.
Bro, what? You just had a wicked change all of a sudden.
Swerve.
Because I realize it's the WWE. They're gonna do the dumbest thing possible. And they're going to set up a WrestleMania match between Drew and Sheamus.
We also call that the Ernie Green theology for sure on this show. So, yep, you're going with the Ernie Green
yourself at the last second.
Doesn't make any sense for it to be Madcap Moss, so it's going to be Madcap Moss via Type B.
Now I'm scared to pick otherwise. But, boys, we're in Saudi Arabia. You know what? let me see Madcap Moss get stabbed by Angela from Mac.
He
Like,
might
just
actually be
flat
allowed to
out.
behead someone there, and it'd
just-
be okay.
Now, talk about boosting the ratings on a daytime pay-per-view. Straight up stab the dude, middle of the ring with Angela. I got McIntyre and Angela with some crazy theatrics in this one.
Do we have to have morals if like WWE doesn't have morals? I mean, we're literally talking about
That's what I'm
Elimination
saying.
Chamber.
I
in
mean, it's a
Saudi Arabia.
television show.
If
Yeah,
we're
no,
get-
I get it. I get it. It's
if
like
we're
Game
getting-
of Thrones in Saudi Arabia.
If we're making blood money, like let's spill some blood in. Like, come on. No, I'm just kidding. But I got McIntyre. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be some stupid stuff. And
Does Angela make an appearance though in the match? Like
100%. If
Okay.
it's false count anywhere, which I believe you said,
Yes.
Angela's involved. I really don't know what else they do with a falls count anywhere in Saudi Arabia. I don't know what the backstage theatrics could be like.
Yeah,
I don't know
Sheamus
what-
is going to steal Angela and use it for a low blow.
Oh, that would be one hell of a low blow.
You guys are some
Sheesh.
sick mother fudgers.
Rough. I mean, what do you got, McAdoo?
I have McIntyre because if Madcap Moss wins they're just blowing everything that they've built up with Drew McIntyre. It just makes no sense to me, unless somehow Sheamus gonna get involved. But I think even if Sheamus gets involved, McIntyre's gonna be able to take care of it.
Yeah, it's got to be McIntyre. I mean, if it was against maybe Happy Corbin, which would be almost as bad, maybe I could see them in a F finish, messed up like shenanigans, having Corbin go over McIntyre. That's probably going to be the WrestleMania match, by the way, not Sheamus, because that's the only other match McIntyre has left to get his revenge on the guys that hurt his neck and all that stuff. But hey, hashtag Madcap Mauling. What do you think Drew's going to do to mess with Madcap Moss in this match? Is he going to, throw him down the stairs? Is he going to swat him with Angela, which is probably the only thing he can do with that sword, and not have it be, R-rated or whatever?
Will we see some theatrics from Baron Corbin?
probably.
I'm putting the
Madcap
odds.
Moss is his boy.
Yeah, I'm putting the odds at like minus 200 on that.
I think we're gonna see some hijinks from Corbin, and I think he's gonna be happy about it. So we got Ty B, the only one taking Madcap Moss. Ty B, last chance, final answer.
And he's
Madcap
probably
Moss.
gonna get it too.
No, I'm doubling down.
Doubling down. Okay, actually might be a good thing if you could put two picks on
Before
a pick of for it.
I'm doubling down on Madcap Moss before the line moves.
Okay. I
The,
appreciate
the line is
sharp
not
money's-
moving, brother.
Sharp
Oh.
money is pouring in on Madcap Moss right now.
The line is not moving.
Let me look and see what they were at when I did my article. But
And hey, we've said it before on this show, and we'll say it again. Something that 3 years ago you wouldn't have thought was possible.
I picked the Long Beach State Dirtbags yesterday to win in a big upset, and they absolutely kicked some ass. They beat the number 3 ranked team in the country. So I mean, I'm hot right now.
Wait, did you say the Long Beach State Dirtbags?
Their baseball team nickname is the Dirtbags.
What's
Like it
their
says it
actual name?
straight across their jerseys.
It says Dirtbags
on their jerseys.
Okay,
yes.
that's amazing. And now they're my
It's
favorite
incredible. Yeah.
team. Okay.
And they're very good. They're ranked like 23rd. Big upset.
Speaking of favorite, Becky Lynch, you got to think, is a pretty big favorite over Lita, who a lot of us will be excited to see, and a lot of us are, and probably Becky will, and this will probably be a phenomenal match. I think there will be a lot of expectations for it. Why don't you start us up, Partham, with a leveled take and give your prediction? What happens when the man comes around to meet Lita?
I hope the man comes back around, because it's been big time Beck so far, and I don't know if there's any kind of legal dispute with Flair still going on while he's running his mouth on Twitter. But it was interesting the other week when, or maybe it was this past Monday, where Becky Lynch comes out all disheveled. She's just like a stressed out mom or whatever in her pajamas, and just not wanting to have to face her idol for whatever reasons, whether it's because she's torn about it or because she's afraid of Lita or whatever. It was something a little different, but I still see Becky Lynch going over in this match, regardless of whatever disposition Becky Lynch is going to bring to the match. They could do more stuff with Lita, but that hasn't been announced or even rumored yet. this could just be in one-off for Lita to just put Becky over, kind of like when they brought Trish Stratus back. Didn't she have a match with Charlotte Flair a couple of years ago? Yeah, this is going to be basically the same thing. Becky Lynch is the new Lita. Charlotte Flair's the new Trish Stratus. It's the new rivalry. And Becky Lynch is basically going to go win. Yeah.
Macadizu, who you got racing to victory? Becky Lynch, Lita.
Considering Lita is a part-timer, this is her, besides the Royal Rumble, it's been her first match in years. I think since Revolution, which was 2018, if I'm correct. Yes. So I'm going to take Becky Lynch. I think Lita, this is just a one-off for Lita. This might be her retirement match, which makes no sense considering it's in Saudi and not America. But that's besides the point. Lynch, you're still building Lynch for WrestleMania, probably definitely against the winner of the Elimination Chamber, but I don't want to give away my pick yet.
Okay, I respect it. But you got Lynch winning it over the part-timer, like you said. All right, Slick, what do you got? Lita pulling the upset?
No, I'm gonna have to agree with McAdoo here. I think Lita's on the way out the door. I got Becky Lynch. WWE invests way too much into her to have her lose to part-time Lita, as McAdoo said. So I got Becky in this one. But I'm looking forward. This one I'm actually looking forward to. I enjoyed watching Lita growing up, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Lita does lose and the contract is over immediately, because we're hearing great rumors of Team Extreme potentially getting back together. Well, they are getting back together, but hopefully on American television. But if you saw some of the stuff WWE has put out following Lita with some of her training that she's been doing, she has been, working very hard. She's been in the ring, working with the Dark Sheik, if anyone knows who that is. They are an incredible wrestler. So I don't know. She's been putting in everything. She's talking about she's getting all these counters for what the man's gonna do, and she had all this potential as the man, but she's not the man anymore. It's big time Bex, and she wants to smack that reality back into her. So I mean, WWE has done a good enough job at least keeping you interested and building a somewhat of a storyline, because it's like Lita was the trailblazer for everything Becky's doing, but I just don't see how you put her over here. I think this is just a moment where this is like a dream match for Becky. She gets a big spot. I think we see a little bit more out of Lita than a lot of people expected here. I think she's going to put on a really, really top-notch performance, but it's going to be big time Bex.
It's going to be Bex. It's always going to be Bex. There's no way WrestleMania is not having big time Bex as a champion, and it's too close there. With that said, I was just reading back up on Lita real quick. Would love the Team Extreme reuniting. I think that would be incredible. Nothing else needs to be said in that regard. Very interesting, though. So she was kind of just like working for bands and stuff growing up in the 90s. And then in 1997, she became inspired watching an episode of World Championship Wrestling's Monday Nitro, watching a superstar by the name of Rey Mysterio Jr. And now they will both be on the card literally 25 years later. So listen, you can get sappy, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool in a sports realm to be on the card with someone that you looked up to 25 years later. And speaking of looking up to, something tells me Sonya Deville is going to be looking up to Ronda Rousey at some point tonight in the match. I got Ronda Rousey and Naomi dominating this. Charlotte Flair will find her way to skirt out of it and not look bad. Sonya will probably take the jacket off and then be instantly mauled, because I think that's the thing, right? Is when she's wearing the jacket, she's the GM of the Power, but she's not. She's a wrestler or whatnot. She'll probably have a jacket for her ring attire or something, because that'll be like the shtick. But I got Naomi and Ronda Rousey probably in about 9 to 12 minutes. They'll let Charlotte and Naomi work for a little bit. Then you'll get a fake Rousey Flair face-off, but ultimately Rousey crushes Deville for the win.
Yep. I'm right there with Maniac. Not much more to say on that one. I think we might see some little funny moments with Sonya trying to put on like a jacket in the middle or something, and Naomi's like ripping it off so she can't like get it on fully. She's like, I got one arm in the jacket though, and like I don't know, you might get a little comedy out of it.
As
Yeah.
WWE is, that would be a circle, like Thanos trying to put on the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, you're stopping them from getting the last stone in. And like, no, it doesn't work yet. But I don't know. You can make it fun enough and still use it to build up what should be a good, hopefully WrestleMania match between Charlotte and Ronda. So hopefully we see some good moments from that. And going with Naomi and Ronda. I think Naomi gets the pin on Sonya and finally gets a little revenge.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I got Naomi and Ronda. I think Ronda is that the epitome of a global superstar too. So when it comes to Saudi, obviously they give the fans what they want. Ronda Rousey is gonna beat the shit out of Sonya Deville. I think, like Maniac said, she takes the jacket off. Ronda's throwing jabs. She's throwing Muay Thai kicks, all that jazz. And like you said, a little build up to that WrestleMania match, but ultimately I got Naomi and Ronda taking this one.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not go with Naomi and Ronda here? I don't like yes, I mentioned earlier that Deville's probably gonna come back to full-time wrestling soon. I think, and I thought that her program with Naomi is a perfect way to do that. But at the same time, it's still Ronda Rousey and Naomi. Sonya Deville's not built up to the lengths that those two are, and Charlotte Flair's not going to carry Deville's will win here. But this leads up to the unfortunate WrestleMania match that is Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair that I will get into next month at WrestleMania. If it still happens, I will give them that. There's still time to back out.
I like you said, Magno, because I just want to chime in here because I think Deville's getting crushed. I do like how they're building her up as like a Vince McMahon with no backstage pull whatsoever. Like they had the segment a week ago or whatever where Vince just emailed her like, "No, that's not happening." Like, and that was all like that. So it's like Corbin on Raw sucked, but like they can never find any traction. Whereas I feel like she has traction as this kind of like GM who everyone wants to fucking own.
It's also funny to hear them say "jack it off."
Can't say that when I'm drinking water, bro.
I thought maybe you said this was a family show.
It was a family show. McAdoo and Slick are determined to break that. They're breaking kayfabe.
We're gonna have to change it to Watch Your Mouth, McAdoo.
I'm in perfect kayfabe.
What do you mean? I didn't swear. The kid, it's an adult joke, not a kid's joke. Like the little, like how Disney Pixar gets away with it.
WWE is a PG program, McAdoo.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Said the F word earlier.
Regardless, Naomi and Ronda are going to win this match for all the reasons stated. Ronda's an international superstar. The Saudi crowd's going to want to see her go over. She's going to pin Sonya Deville because this is basically a way to have a brief Ronda Rousey-Sonya Deville feud while they're all having their simultaneous feuds between Rousey and Flair and Naomi and Sonya, which I think that's going to conclude. Both are going to conclude at WrestleMania. But Rousey's doing the one-arm tie behind her back, just like Steve Austin and McMahon back in the day, which didn't actually go through, but they still beat WCW in the ratings with that little shtick. But I recall way back in those days, Ken Shamrock had this match where they put him in a straitjacket, like with no arms able to use, and he was in a match, I think, with Jeff Jarrett, and he was taking him down with like drop toe holds and all these leg finishers, and he submitted Jeff Jarrett with just his legs alone. So these UFC people know what to do with every one of their arms and legs, even if one of them or a couple of them, just are suddenly disabled or go missing or whatever. So I think Rousey's going to, mess with Sonya is essentially, isn't she wrestling with one arm as well because another arm's in a sling? So it may be an even match there, and Ronda is just going to find some way to just do some crazy stuff that we haven't seen her do before, and I think she's going to tap Sonya out for it.
I do think a tap out is coming for sure. And also, rounding out the sweep, Micah Man had Naomi and Ronda Rousey as well. By the way, Ronda Rousey, obviously, she works a brutal style. She's kind of like a Brock Lesnar in the ring where like some of the stuff looks like a little bit more real because of her style. A little rusty, though, at the Royal Rumble, right? I think we all agree.
Sure.
It's kind of all over the place. Okay, well, hey.
And it's tough to, like, when you have, like, one of those MMA stars, it's tough to have them incorporate MMA as part of their gimmick and make it look real.
Yes.
Because they're so used to actually just really beating people up. And so that's what you get when you got like Ronda Rousey like throwing these crazy combinations and stuff in the squared circle. It's not the same. It's tough though, like I said.
I instead of removing him from the solo layout, I just removed him from the stream. Speaking of being removed from the stream, and speaking of getting revved up, look at that anagram, folks. Or not anagram, the initials. The Raw Women's Championship contender Elimination Chamber. The RWCCEC. We got Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair versus Doudrop versus Liv Morgan versus Nikki ASH versus Rhea Ripley. I only see a couple of contenders in here, but I want to get some leveled off thoughts. So let's start with Partham and go around the horn, wrap it back to me here.
It's kind of been interesting to see how they've been developing Alexa Bliss's character from the Fiend offshoot back to the Goddess with her hair coming back and her bringing back her sparkly jacket the last time. Obviously, they're going to keep. I'm forgetting the doll's name now. What's her doll's name? Alexa's doll's name.
Lily.
Lily.
You talking Lily, bro?
We're talking Lily. It's interesting that they kept Lily around because now she's going back to her old character, but she's still going to keep Lily as a sidekick. And the obvious answer is, well, they're going to sell Lily dolls, like hotcakes, and kids are apparently taken to that like it's the new Baby Yoda or something. But regardless of that, the story is going to be Bianca Belair because even if they haven't really, outside of the recent gauntlet match, been building her back up since SummerSlam, the story is Bianca Belair going to get her revenge back on Becky Lynch. So the answer is going to be Bianca Belair for the win.
Yeah, to your Lily point, they're selling Funko Pops with the Lily doll involved in it. So that's probably why they're keeping her around a little bit more. But I want to talk about a little bit about the actual Elimination Chamber itself. Why did WWE
Let's talk about it.
Why did WWE think that going to a toy, like it looks like a toy compared to the other one? The other one looked absolutely destructive, like it was gonna freaking hurt you if you just walked inside it. This one, it looks like a toy.
Well, I think maybe that's the point. They don't want too many people getting hurt.
And let's face it, WWE loves nerfing itself. Whether it's turning a last man standing into a falls count anywhere, like what's the difference? A Hell in a Cell versus the Elimination Chamber. Like it's you know what I mean? It's kind of like they work themselves into a corner because they come out with these other concepts that are so similar and things like that. And yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. I don't like it looks ridiculous.
Yeah. I've said that since they debuted in 2018, 2017, something like that. But anyways, how can Doudrop's stupid name? They need to take her back to, what was it? Something, I want to say it was something Harper, right?
Piper Niven.
Yes, thank you. I could see this going down to Rhea and Bianca, and I think it's going to end up being Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch, and not a squash match like they had at SummerSlam.
Yeah, this is tough.
And I get what you're saying, just real quick, because I want to jump on that. And
Yeah,
I would
go
like
ahead.
your guys' thoughts. It's almost like wasn't even a squash match. It was more like a poof surprise match, right? Because in a squash match, typically the person gets like one punch in, and then it's like 45 seconds of like domination. This was just, she completely caught her off guard, hit the, manhandle slam and pinned her, right?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Okay, I got you. It was like Daniel Bryan Sheamus. Like
exactly.
Even though it was a fluke. I agree. That's a little different than the squash. I just want to clarify that because I feel like there is a huge difference, obviously, in the scape of how they view things. So it's like, who do we got winning? Mackie, you locked in your prediction, right?
Belair.
Okay.
I am gonna take the Ernie Green methodology here. and
Yes.
Whatever doesn't make sense. I think just because Alexa Bliss is coming back, WWE gives her this win.
Well, and WWE loves Alexa Bliss. Let's not face it. She's
Exactly,
multiple women's
exactly.
time champion. So
Exactly.
it's not crazy.
And it throws her right back into a title picture, and it squashes everyone else unnecessarily. So yeah, I'm going with that. Alexa Bliss.
Yeah. speaking of Alexa Bliss, she's putting up Tony Snell numbers in therapy, just abysmal performances. She's out here with the 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 blocks, 0 steals. I don't know what she even went to therapy for because it's clearly not working.
It was rehab.
It's not working. I don't know what they're doing with her. They ruined her. Hopefully they bring her back and figure something out. She's not going to win. I think that you got to go with the obvious one here with Bianca to get her to potentially get a big moment back with a match against the man at WrestleMania.
I agree, and I think they would be silly not to do it. I would be tempted to give into the Ernie Green methodology like Slick did, and I don't blame him for it at all. But with that said, I mean, you would just be crazy not to want Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. I think it's pretty clear that her and whether it's Big Time Bex, whether it's the man, or if it's just Becky freaking Lynch, they can have a great match together for sure. But with that said, so I'll lock in Bianca. We also have Micah Mann taking Bianca as well. With that said, speaking of having a great match, I'm not very confident in this next one. I hate to say it. There's just a couple matches on this card that I cannot get into. I'll kick it off. I mean, how the hell would you ever have the Usos lose to the Viking Raiders? I mean, there has not been enough of a program to justify this as a push for the Viking Raiders, really. It's just kind of they got slotted into it, in my opinion. So with that said, I got the Usos retaining pretty easily.
Yeah, and in most people's opinion, you're exactly correct. But in WWE's opinion, that's what they consider a push. You win like one match, you win like 2 matches, and you lose one. As long as you're 55%, you're a contender now in the WWE. The Viking Raiders are not going to win.
Oh, there you, bro. You had me excited.
The Lee Corso of the WWE show.
Not so fast.
I'm going with the Bloodline. It doesn't make sense for the Viking Raiders to win this. I think their gimmick's kind of goofy, personally. Never really was a fan. But oh well, here we are.
And I'll play Ernie Green real quick, Slick, before you lock in this answer, because I'll give you a shot to flip flop real quick. Made absolutely no sense for Bobby Lashley to separate from the Hurt Business on the way to WrestleMania, whether it was a year ago or 2 years ago. Made no sense before it, made no sense after it, but they still did it, and they had the Hurt Business lose the titles or whatever. So maybe this will be something like that to start a Roman downfall, but I can't see it.
I can't see it either with all they put into Roman. And the Usos are going to win and probably show up in the Universal title match later. So I'm taking the Usos.
How can you not take the Usos? I mean, when I was typing up my article for this, the odds were surprising to me because I thought the Viking Raiders probably should have shorter odds. It was -300 for Usos, plus 500 for Viking Raiders. But then the more I looked into it, I was like, that actually makes more sense. So Usos it is.
The Usos win. Next.
Okay, I like it. Clean sweep with the Micah Man also having the Usos. Let's go the other choice. Which one do you guys want to do? WWE Championship or Universal first?
Let's do WWE Championship.
Okay, I like it. And we got a variety. This looks like I've said that a couple of these matches look lackluster. This match with this personnel has the potential, in my opinion, to be one of the top 5 WWE matches of the last 2 to 3 years, honestly. And I get that obviously on paper, for sure. Like things can get crazy in the chamber, but just the interaction between Riddle and Lesnar, you got Rollins with his craziness, and you got Lashley at the peak. And then I don't even know what Theory is going to be doing. He's probably going to be thinking he's a hot shot, but he seems like he's out of his
He's going to be taking I hope he's just taking selfies while he's in the chamber. Yeah, with people wrestling around him. If we don't get that, at least, come on.
If we don't get him taking a selfie as Bobby Lashley like spears somebody into his pod and like takes him out, that would definitely be a missed opportunity. With that said,
McAfee's like, there's absolute chaos in the chamber, and Theory's just taking selfies in the pod.
He's on social media. He's in the chamber. Okay. With that said, here on social media, here on Wrestling with Emotion Show, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, we are rocking, we are rolling. And with that said, rolling is what's going to happen. I appreciate Bobby Lashley. He's had 2 good reigns last year. but it's time to get someone who you know can headline a WrestleMania main event night, and that is Seth freaking Rollins. Rollins back with the WWE title, baby.
Wow.
I think you're going out on a limb on that one because I think the plan still is going to end up being title for title at Mania, because you see what they're trying to do with the potential of bringing back Stone Cold and reaching back into nostalgia. They're trying to do whatever they can do. They need a super card. They want to build it as champion versus champion. I think it's just going to be Brock, but I'm excited. Like you said, some great names in this one to see what Riddle can do with Lesnar with both of their MMA backgrounds. I think, they should be able to lay it in and make it all look real. I think you should be able to see Riddle get some counters off that, most people wouldn't if they actually, lean in and talk about how he is a former MMA star. They don't ever talk about it anymore. I don't know the last time they've mentioned it. That's someone else was talking about this the other day. I think Sean Ross Sapp brought it up. Like, it's been like a year or two since they really have talked about it. And it's not like he was getting beat up in the UFC. Like, he left because because Dana wouldn't let him smoke weed. Like, so, like, we should just be able to see some big star making moments for guys like Riddle. I think Austin Theory could do some stuff, especially because you have some real legit stars in there like AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, guys who've been there before. So as long as they all work well together and realize like this is an opportunity where we have these young guys we talk about, oh, there's no stars coming up. Brock was just talking about it the other day. There's no stars. There's no one coming to take the mantle. Well, here's a good spot where they don't have to necessarily win, but you can put some of these young stars over here in this matchup still.
100%. So, yeah. Ty summed it up perfectly, in my opinion. I'm really looking forward to this match, though. I think throw a huge spotlight on Theory and Riddle. I like how they're taking Riddle out of the tag team picture and putting him into this title picture for this match. I think Riddle's great, and I think he deserves much more than just tag team titles at a point. I don't think he gets the title here. I think it'd be cool. I think we need at least like one teaming up point between Riddle and Brock throughout the Chamber match. Like one time where they're just like on the same page. Like Riddle's like, "What's up, bro?" Like daps him up or something. I'd lose it. I could totally see that happening too with the new face Brock. And
I'm real quick. I had to jump in. I'm thinking a moment. You got 4 people in the ring. Brock starts suplexing the first one, and Riddle's just like, yeah. Like, and then he grabs someone else, and he suplexes, and he's like, yeah. And then Brock just looks at him, he's like, and then they have their moment there, like, where he's like,
yeah.
So, I feel like it's super easy. And if they don't, it is a massive missed opportunity. Riddle's face when Brock's music hit at the Rumble was fucking hysterical.
God. Bro, I still have that picture saved. That is like prime meme material. Absolutely. But yeah, they need that interaction. I also think there needs to be another Brock Austin Theory interaction, because Brock just hanging up his coat on Theory and putting the cowboy hat on him on Monday was absolutely hilarious. I love this new Brock, and I think we're getting title for title at WrestleMania. Give me Brock Lesnar in the Chamber to win the WWE title.
All right. I'm probably going with my heart more than my head here. I do not want to see a title for title at WrestleMania. That'd be stupid.
Because you don't want to see Roman lose.
Uh-oh.
No, it's just... You've heard in the past Brock has said carrying 2 titles at one time is stupid. That's why when he beat Cena in 2014, he dropped the World Heavyweight title, and we haven't seen it since. But back to this match. I think Bobby Lashley comes out the winner here. I think Roman is going to do something. Either Roman or the Usos are going to do something interfere here. Going to cost Lesnar the match, and we'll see Bobby Lashley defend his title at WrestleMania.
Bobby Ashley.
Oh, I forgot because of one writer.
Bobby who?
Ashley.
Bobby who?
Ashley.
No, it's just I see where you're going. Okay.
What?
One writer, you mean the core of WWE programming?
It's gonna be Lesnar, because the entire point of taking the title off him in the first place, which they hot shotted on him at day one to begin with, I guess. The entire point of him losing the title at the Rumble was to get him in the Rumble, to make him challenge Roman Reigns, and then put the title back on him, so you can justify a title versus title match without having a third wheel Royal Rumble winner come into the picture. Bobby Lashley could carry the title, but I think it's going to be Brock getting a clean sweep on all 4 African-American champions in WWE that have ever been. AJ Styles could win the title. He could carry it. Seth freaking Rollins could win the title. He could carry it. It's going to be a jumping off point for Austin Theory, but he's not going to win the title. If Riddle comes close to winning the title, I could see Orton showing up and, doing the turn at Chamber in Saudi Arabia, where he just somehow reaches through the cage, maybe, or just distracts him somehow. Maybe somehow he gets in the cage. Maybe comes up through the mat. We don't know, but it could be a turn. It could be a turn point for Randy. Yeah, it could be the turn for Randy.
He's in the chamber.
But regardless of whether that happens there or not, I think you're not going to tease title versus title that many times. You could do it one time just to troll the fans, but you're not going to tease it that many times and not have Brock Lesnar win the title and go into WrestleMania. And WWE is putting all their chips into this Lesnar versus Reigns match, so they're going to want it to be title versus title, regardless of whether it makes sense or not, regardless of whether you can have another championship match on the WrestleMania card and make it that much bigger. It's going to be Brock Lesnar.
Yes, sir. He's going to show him how we do it in Saskatchewan.
Absolutely. So we have a lot of Lesnar. We have Lesnar and Rollins, basically, except for McAdoo's Lashley.
It's not a bad guess either.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. I would be very shocked if Austin.
Let me ask McAdoo one quick question. If it is Lashley, who does he go into WrestleMania to face?
We'll find out
That's
Monday.
where I was stuck also.
We'll find out Monday.
Big E, potentially?
They buried Big E, unfortunately.
Yeah, when he took the pin at day one. That's how I thought.
Yeah, and I feel like Big E's getting the Kofi treatment where, like, right after he lost it, he basically just went right away. He didn't, be like, oh, I want to get my title back. Like, he literally was just, out of the picture instantly.
Wait, a strange note on Kofi and Big E. They're not calling them the New Day anymore. At least they haven't put it on a graphic the last 2 weeks. Unless they're waiting for Woods to come back, and then they'll be the fully New Day.
Well, I think they, at first, the first time or two they were together, they were using the same stuff that they were using for Kofi and Woods. So I think that's probably why, until they generate new ones for the two of them together.
All right, folks. Well, with that said, it's potentially and probably main event time.
It's time for the main event.
So with that said, in no universe, in no reality, in no realm, does it make any sense that Goldberg would smash his head against the door and come and end this 500-day title reign? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
So
but
you're
with that
picking
said,
him, right?
especially with Goldberg, WWE has shown an incredible propensity to do things that don't make sense for the long-term storylines, especially with short windows before WrestleMania. There is a complete non-care factor because apparently, behind the scenes, these Saudis want to see these 90s wrestlers and especially the spectacle of Goldberg one last time. So it's very interesting because you're assessing this match. Well, Roman's always been WWE's guy, but when it comes to Saudi, Goldberg's kind of their guy. So with that said, Ty B, give us that take. I know you're cooking something up. Who you got? Roman versus Goldberg, Universal Championship.
Yeah, I think this whole match is gonna, go to set up the head of the table match at WrestleMania, which is the Bunny versus Roman Reigns. But no, I don't know what the hell we're gonna see out of this match. Goldberg has been extremely hit or miss lately with his matches. He just kind of comes back and asks for title matches and just gets them, which is awesome. I wish I could do that. I would just walk into my job and just ask for a raise every day. That'd be pretty cool. Seems like it works for Goldberg. This is his last fight on his contract as of right now, I do believe. So they're trying to get it over with. It was supposed to be spanned out over years, I guess, and they just kind of squeezed it all in right here. And You're right. The Saudis do love Goldberg. Everyone loves a spear. Yeah, spear versus spear again. What a cool matchup. They're just tackling each other. I don't get it. I'm just gonna go with Roman Reigns. I don't even care about this match at all. We'll probably turn it off once this happens, and hopefully GCW will be on by then.
Goldberg is next to lose to the head of the table.
Goldberg wins, and then he goes to NXT Level Up.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't have much to say. This is gonna be a bad, boring match. I'm not looking forward to it. I really would like to say something positive here, but I can't. Maybe the Usos step in. They probably step in and add a little flair that I won't expect.
Yeah, they're gonna beat up Goldberg's son.
Yeah.
No,
you think
they're
Goldberg's
actually
son's
going to
coming
be.
all the way to Saudi Arabia?
You know what the Usos are going to be doing? They're going to be playing the role of J&J Security from back in the day today, because they're literally just going to rock out there, Mamma Mia, it's a spear by Goldberg. And it's not going to get 2 in on each Uso. So, like, there'll be, like, a spear count or something tonight. Like, it'll be, like, crazy. You know they'll be pushing it big time. Make sure you're following the action with hashtag spear count.
Goldberg is going to be winning the entire match, and then one Superman punch is going to knock his old ass out, and Roman Reigns retains.
All right. Wait, do we get Partham's? Is McAdoo on the line? Is McAdoo
McAdoo's
talking?
on the phone.
Is McAdoo talking to Paulie
the table.
Walnuts?
It's Paul Heyman.
Did you talk to Paul
He's on
Heyman
the
just now,
advocate.
Yeah,
McAdoo?
It's the
WWE just called me.
advocate.
WWE just called me. They say that Roman Reigns, there's no way in hell he loses this match.
Well, you heard it first
Himself?
from the source, from the advocate.
Wow.
Gentlemen,
McAdoo just pulled a Mark Henry on us. We thought he was getting swerved, and then he swerved us, and he's got a lot left in the tank. What do you got, Partham?
Gentlemen, this is the irresistible force of Goldberg in title matches in February versus the immovable object of Roman Reigns and his 500-plus Universal reign.
537 days.
He's on God mode.
But Goldberg's at the end of his contract, and he may renew it because the Saudis just can't get enough of him, and they're going to bring him back for, the Saudi shows every 2 or 3 times a year if they can find new opponents for him to, either bury or get buried by. But, of course, it's going to be Roman Reigns. They're going into WrestleMania. It's going to be title versus title. Bully Ray talking about some crap where they're going to have Goldberg win the match and then put it right back on Roman Reigns and not have the 500-plus day reign going into WrestleMania, going into the title versus title, making it all that much bigger. There's no reason to do that unless Vince Russo's back booking the company. It's going to be Roman Reigns.
Listen, bro, I got a great idea, bro. Goldberg versus Big E for 16 seconds at WrestleMania 50.
Yes.
All right, with that said, I got Reigns, and not only do I have Reigns, boys, I got
God.
Reigns kicking out of 2 jackhammers.
Wow.
He's kicking out of 2 jackhammers tonight.
He's in
Consecutive?
God
Right
mode.
now.
I don't know if there will be consecutive. I don't know if there will be a little break, but at some point there will be a second jackhammer administration, which is typically a death sentence for anybody. It killed Brock Lesnar a couple of years ago, multiple times. But
Well, that was 2
Roman-
spears and a jackhammer.
believe me, he'll be eating some spears before those jackhammers. So
Sure.
He'll be getting a full round of the Goldberg diet.
Yeah, I can see that because, they
That's
had...
the
They
only
had
2 moves he's going to
It's
take.
2 square meals.
It's gonna be 6
spears and
minutes.
jackhammer.
6 minutes, 6 spears, 2 jackhammers.
They had
That's how
Roman
bad
Reigns
it
kick
is.
out of 4 attitude
Double
adjustments from
Superman
Cena, including a
punches.
super one off the top rope. So I can clearly see, no matter how many spears and jackhammers, Roman Reigns will kick out of all of them.
I got Roman, but I will say, low-key, if you're, Joe NOI and you're pissed that people are shit-talking the Roman Reigns character for the last 5 years, put on a good 14-minute match with Goldberg, because I know the ceiling is basically like 6 minutes. Like, that's what him and Brock did at WrestleMania a couple years ago, when they were basically just spearing each other through the barricades, spearing each other through the tables, and then they got back in the match and did finishers and it was over. If you get a 10-minute match out of Goldberg, I'll give Reigns some freaking credit, man.
Yeah.
So, with that said, we are all wrapped up here. Wrestling with Emotion Show. There is a lot on the way. Obviously, there is a lot on the way from the All Elite side. And as we all know on this show, Slick L is All Elite. But make sure you stay All Elite. by following us on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, everything where you can follow the action. Make sure you're following these guys at Michael Partham, at ZT McAdoo, at Slick L, at Ty Bedron, at Ty Buffalo, at Maniac. Folks, it's not wrestling with your budget. It's not wrestling with your conscience. It is wrestling with